listen to the songs, some say kiss the girl. Sha la 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 la, music plays, do what the music say. You wanna kiss the girl. Yeah. Sha la 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 la, my oh my, look at the boys inside, ain't gonna kiss the girl. Sha la 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 la, ain't that sad, ain't it a shame to make you gonna miss the girl. Sha la 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 la, don't be scared, you got the mood pretty bad, you wanna kiss the girl. Sha la la la, don't sound loud, I'm trying to hide it, how you wanna kiss the girl. Sha la la la, gender rules and really big plot holes, come on and kiss the girl. Sha la 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 la, what the hell, even the crowd can tell you gotta kiss the girl.
You can download my Disney Rock album on iTunes and more in the description below. Also on Spotify. This video was made possible by my supporters on Patreon. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, and say hi on social media.
Listen to me, the human world, it's a mess. Life under the sea is better than anything they've got up there. Ha! The seaweed is always greener in somebody else's lake. You dream about going up there, but that is a big mistake. Just look at the world around you, right here on the ocean floor. Such wonderful things around you, what more is you looking for? Under the sea, yeah, under the sea, yeah. Darling, it's better down when it's wetter. Take it from me. Up on the shore, they work all day. Out in the sun, they slave away. While we devoting full time to floating under the sea. Down here all the fish is happy, as off through the waves they roll. The fish on the land ain't happy, they're sad cause they in the bowl. But fish in the bowl is lucky, they in for a worse fate. One day when the boss get hungry, guess who gon' be on the plate? Oh no, under the sea, yeah, under the sea, yeah. Nobody beat us, fry us and eat us in fricassee. Land folks loves to cook. Under the sea, we off the hook. We got no troubles, life is the bubbles. Under the sea, oh, under the sea, yeah. Since life is sweet here, we got to be here naturally.
How's it going, sis?
They get the urges to play. We got the spirit, you got to hear it. Under the sea, oh.
Yes, I saw that you got your pizza. Glad you finally got your pizza. Turtle watch, right? Yeah. That's my eyelash. It's already We're gonna stop that. One of my cats is trying to sneak in. You guys might notice a change in background behind me. My computer's in my room now. So you may see Porky. Come here. It's a kitty. This is Porky. No, you're not sitting on my lap. Not right now. No. Down. Don't give me that look. Meow, do you too? Yes, this is Porky. He's a little turd butt, attention whore. No. No, get down. No, you cannot be on my lap right now. What? Ah, your nose is wet. You just headbutted me. He's such a butt. Porky's a boy. Tesla is the girl. And she is probably hiding under my bed if she's even in here. I don't even know. But yes, this is Porky, the attention whore cat. He's staring at my hands now because they moved and they weren't petting him. Hey, Swaggy, what's up? This is my cat. One of two. He's an adorable little turd. I know, I'm talking about you and I'm not petting you. You poor neglected thing. Yes, you poor neglected thing. No, you cannot be on my chair right now. Don't give me that look. Are you just gonna whine the entire stream? Meow. What? If you're gonna whine, I'm gonna kick you out. Go lay down. Hey, dearie. How are you? How's everyone doing today? I don't know where my other cat is. I'm pretty sure she's under the bed. That's where she hides, usually. Where did my chopstick? Chopstick. Usually I do this all before stream, but I was watching a friend stream some StarCraft. So, like, you get to watch me, like, do things that I normally do before I start. No, you are not getting up here. Stop it. No. I'm being stared down by a fur butt. I seen ratings, so I came to support. Yes. Today I'm gonna recap some stuff that I've done in previous streams. Hey, Waffles! Of world building, character bios. There's my other kitty. It was just the door. She's really jumpy, so like sounds will scare her. It's not food time yet. I know what you're begging for. Well, get up there. And there is Miss Tesla. Other kitty. I made it to the stream, right? Finally finished my plot and subplot. Oh, that's good. It has a kitty on my neck. Oh, which kitty? So this is Porky. The orange one is Porky, who is sniffing my finger. This one over here is Tesla. My finger is not like moving. Tesla is my rescue kitty that I'm always talking about. And she's just going to totally ignore me. Oh, that's right. You only have one. Sorry. I have another friend that has a couple, so like I kind of forget who has what. But these are my kitties. Porky, my orange kitty. He's actually an orange kitty. Come here. Come here, butt. Even though you'll get mad at me after I put you down. Because you're such a butt. This is my attention whore kitty. He loves snuggles and headbutts. This is Porky. Hey, Porky. No, he doesn't have two different colored eyes. Neither of them do. Yeah, now you're mad at me because I picked you up and then put you back over there. Deal with it. Right? He is adorable. We had his mom as well, and she was a black kitty, but she passed away a couple years ago. So those are my kitties. And since my computer's in my room now, you'll probably see them more often on my stream. Because they're little turds and come in here, even though they're not supposed to. I quit fighting them on it. Don't mind me while I move my laptop a bit. He will probably literally just sit there and stare at me this entire time. What is your story again? I'm in a lot of writing streams. The one that I was reading is Chronicles of the Past Presage. It's a fantasy novel. Seriously, cat? You're just gonna clean yourself? Whatever. And that one's gonna be a series. The other one I mentioned is Cormanthyr, which is an Elvish word meaning the culmination of faith and hope. Fantasy buddies, yeah! Yes, I am a huge fantasy nut. If I turn my computer enough, you might be able to see it. That's my entertainment center. Nope. Okay. Right there, this little section here is a bookshelf next to my entertainment center. Those are DVDs. That entire bookshelf in the corner there is all of these series that I have. And I have a whole other bookshelf out in my living room that is almost as full. But yeah, so you guys... My cat every night, right as I'm about to sleep, decides to sleep. They're not allowed to be in here when I sleep, though. I do have allergies to cats, but I take allergy shots once a month, and I take an allergy pill every day to manage it. Allergic to cats and lots of other things. I also carry an EpiPen with me because I have a food allergy. But so today we're gonna go over world building and all sorts of stuff. So some of you have heard me talk about this before. That was one of the very first streams I did. But I didn't have a YouTube before to put those videos up on. So I'm going to go over those again so that I can put this up on my YouTube. So that it's more easily accessible, and because Twitch only keeps videos for regular users for about 2 weeks. So last week's video will only be up for about another week, I think. So go ahead and ask questions. I don't mind at all. Host, whatever. I'm just going to pull up the Twitch chat on my phone so I can see it while I'm actually talking, because I'm going to pull up my desktop here in a minute to look at things. Like I said, usually I have this all like already ready before I start, but I was sick yesterday, and I woke up super early today without meaning to. So, while I'm feeling better today, I'm a little tired. I did drink some coffee earlier. We'll see how long that coffee lasts. But, there we go. For world creation, I really love the SAO series, so I'm going to make my own. I love SAO. Sword Art Online is awesome. Both the first and the second. The second was kind of different. Not in a bad way necessarily, but I mean, I liked both. But yeah, they're good. So for me, world creation can be both really challenging but also really rewarding. I put a lot of work into my world building for fantasy books. So last week you guys saw some of the maps that I've drawn. So I'll draw the maps, and then as for like resources and things that'll go into my worlds, I use real world plans and everything for the most part. And to do that, I will pick a country that is relatively the same size as my country in the story, and then research it in terms of plant life, animal life, population, comment. Tesla. No, I lost my train of thought. This is why I have these pulled up. So yeah, I pick a real country. I'll do things like how many forests it has, what kind of things are in those forests. Are they a protected forest? Are they like a national monument? Mountains and rivers and lakes. And sometimes I'll look at the country and see how many cities they have, and use that to sort of determine how many cities to put in my specific kingdom, because it is usually a kingdom. And then I take all of that information, which, so my chair squeaks a lot too, so I apologize in advance for that. My note taking gets pretty extensive. This is my notebook for Corminthir. I do a lot of writing in notebooks, especially for research. For Corminthir, I used Denmark as my country, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. So this is 13 pages, front and back, so 26 pages, really, of notes that I took on Denmark, that include a bit of their history, their national history, national landmarks, they have a lot of birds, which I didn't know. So literally like 3 of these pages is just birds. General species, not specific. And like geography and all of that. And then I'll take that and say, okay, here's what's going to be in this location in mine. And yes, I get very detailed. The funniest part for Waffles, I think you were around for my discussion a couple weeks ago about the whole what if you and your soulmate had matching birthmarks. And on that one, I got really detailed into how it would work and how society would adapt to such changes. That one is up on my YouTube, that you can, I'm pretty sure it's up on my YouTube, that you can go watch. But that one got really interesting because I literally just sat there like going, okay, if this happened, how does society adapt to this? Hey Steven, how are you? I'm glad you could make it. I know I started later. Yeah, that one was a really interesting one. For those of you that weren't here, I saw a Tumblr post that was shared on Facebook about what if you and your soulmates had what if you and your soulmates stopped aging until you found each other, and then like it goes through all of these little things of moving in with your platonic friend and both of you realizing that you've slowly been aging, meaning your soulmates, um, or like the forever alone type who never ages because they can't find their soulmate. And then as Tumblr does, it quickly devolves into how about somebody who kills their soulmate every time just to be forever young, to be immortal, and all of this. And then I added in, so I took that concept and added in another concept I had seen of what if you and your soulmate had matching tattoos and like you literally just like traveled the world trying to find your soulmate, trying to find your match and like all of the implications. So putting those two together became a really interesting story, and then trying to figure out, okay, how does our world adapt to this? Because it is our world. It's not some fantasy world. It's one of those what ifs, which would be considered speculative fiction. And so it's kind of one of those, okay, how does that affect like international travel? Because currently you have to have a passport. You have, in order to work in a place, you have to prove that you're a citizen or get a visa. It's all sorts of complicated. Or in some countries, you have to, in order to get that visa, you have to prove that you can do the job better than somebody who's already living there. So it gets very complicated. But I need a freaking world name. For naming, there's a couple of different things you can do. What I do, some of the naming of either characters or locations, the names just come to me. Like Kariko was a name that just came to me. Other ones, Regden was originally named Sin, S-I-N, and so I renamed him because it didn't really seem like a good name to have. It felt like it was a good idea to rename him. And Sentry as well. Talon used to be Sentry. Ragden, for him, what I did was I took some of the character's key features, like being carefree, just kind of having a fun-loving nature, which Ragden is very much the free spirit between Ragden and Rose. Ragden is very much the free spirit out of the two. And so I took a couple of characteristics of him, and I finding one of my other notebooks here. I put those into Google Translate, of all things, and flipped through various translations between different languages. Like I would just pick different languages and see what it gave me, and would just kind of say those to myself a couple of times, see how I thought they sounded, whether the actual word itself fit my character and not just its meaning. And so that's how I got Ragden. Yes, yeah. That's where Kijani actually came from. Kijani is Swahili for green. Very original, right? Cause let's see, yeah. This whole page is what happens when you translate green into things. This whole bottom part is different languages. Elvish, Sindarin Elvish, Quenya? Yeah, I can never pronounce it right. The Q one. Old Norse, I have an Old Norse to English dictionary as well, and then the Grey Company Elvish dictionary. So I've got all sorts of dictionaries. I've got the 3 different Elvish ones, and then the Old Norse. Regden did actually not come from Google Translate. It came from the Sindarin Elvish word for sinner. So it's still, oh, excuse me, it's still kind of the same, but it's a different name, even though it means the same, and it just kind of flows better. And then this section up here was renaming, ignore the system sounds, was renaming my main character for Cormanther. And then one of my mods, Demon a Dragon 88, he decided Sentry also needed a new name, because Sentry is more of a title than it is a name, and he's a very big World of Warcraft fan. Not that I'm not either, but he's an even bigger one than I am. And he mentioned an NPC that used to be in WoW, the Paladin, Talon. So I actually looked up the name and tried to find some meanings for the name. And I found a couple of different things, and a lot of them really did fit Sentry, so he became Talon. So probably my best advice is, even when you pick a name, don't be afraid to change a name. Sometimes it does work better than your original name. I have an entire Word document, or open office document, whatever you want to call it, that is just name suggestions. I will pull it up so you can see. Give me 1 second. I didn't pull it up originally because I wasn't originally going to use it. So I have 4 pages of names. And most of them will have the name, and if it's from a language, and from a language, it'll have its origin next to it. So yeah, it is a lot of names. So, and while doing my research on Denmark, I actually ended up translating a lot of Denmark is made up of a lot of little islands. It's not just one big landmass. So pretty much, it has something like 400 some islands. A lot of them are just really, really tiny islands that don't have names. And actually, that might not be right. Let me make sure I'm saying that right, because I don't want to get this wrong. I have a friend that lives in Denmark. He'd probably get mad at me if I got it wrong. That's different. I'll go over that in a minute. Because I want to say that there's several hundred islands, and only half of them are here we go. Okay, so I was completely off. There's a total of 1,419 islands above 100 square meters in total in Denmark. And 443 of those are named. And I scrolled through every single one of them. So there's a lot of them. But in the process, these here, all of these here, are words that were either part of an island name or came up while Googling the island names, because I wanted to know what they meant and how to say them. So I learned some Danish words in the process. and I cannot ever figure out how to do special characters well in typing, so the let me find a pen. The symbol that looks like, find a blank spot here. Are you seriously snoring, cat? No. That looks like this. The O that's like this. Use the Alt key. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I have hotkeys set for my my scenes, so that's what I was doing. Yeah. Cook. But yeah. So like a lot of these are names that or words that I picked and then originally discarded for whatever character I was using. And decided to keep in case they fit a better one. As for naming locations, a lot of it came down to using those dictionaries that I have, and then I did get stuck at one point. I was about halfway through the original map for Cormanthere, and I could not for the life of me figure out some names for things. And I wasn't really finding any good ones in any of the dictionaries or any other materials that I was looking at. And so I reached out to a well-known author who I follow on Twitter, who I know interacts with his followers a lot. You might know him as the author of Aragon, Christopher Paolini. And so I tweeted him and said, I'm stuck. How do I get more names? Like, where do you get your inspiration? And he gave me the simplest advice ever that once I read his reply, I felt like an idiot because it was so obvious. His reply was, look at a map. And so I did that. I pulled up on Google an image of the world map and just zoomed in, and I was like, oh my god. I started recognizing locations he had used in the inheritance cycle, but had changed just slightly. And so I did start doing that. I would take a name and change a few letters or change the spelling a little bit of the original word to make my new location. Or sometimes I just liked the word and used it. Because one of my kingdoms is Stavanger, which is Norway, I think. Yes, dearie, that symbol. I could probably do it on my phone, but on my keyboard, I've never figured out how to do characters like that. I'm sometimes tech savvy, but not always. But so that's where I get a lot of my naming from. So Swaggy, that might help you. It might or might not. For world creation, I always want to say Alt 0248. I'm gonna write that down. future reference. All right. Thank you, dearie. Whether you're doing fantasy, like a completely new world, or urban fantasy, where it takes place in our world, but you've got, fairies or other magical elements that make it a fantasy, do your research. Know what you're doing. I had to Google. Nothing wrong with Google, dear. Trust me. Who's got your back? Yes, she does. A lot of my friends will tell you that I am like a Google ninja. I can find things. I don't think I ever bothered Googling that, though, because, like, how often am I going to use it? But always do your research. Always know what's going into your world, and I love powers, ability, and character bios. We will get to character bios. Personally, I like to make my world as detailed as possible. So going back to a tattooed heart is what I call the Tumblr post one. Because the main characters, their birthmark is going to be some form of heart, not a cheesy, girly heart or anything. But going back to a tattooed heart, when I was trying to figure out how these changes would affect our world and international travel and things like that, I was bouncing some ideas off of my friends and my husband at the time, and I was like, okay, well, what about the international travel? Because you're gonna have people who aren't wealthy, they aren't from a wealthy family, they can't afford to just leave their job and travel or anything. So how do you get around that? And my husband's answer was, well, I just wouldn't really go into detail on that. I'd just gloss that over. I'm not that kind of person. I am the kind of person that has to figure it all out, has to have all the little details figured out. And I like to do that before I start writing, because there have been times where I didn't, and I had to go back and figure out, okay, how does this work? And it really kind of delays the story, because then you have to figure out how this element of your story fits in. That's one approach, I guess. Yeah. He's the artist of our pair, whereas I'm the writer. So, like, for him, all the nitty-gritty details aren't really important to him. Now, if it had to do with the artwork, then the details get added in. But, so like he says, AC makes it a lot realer, right? Yes, exactly. That is why I put so much thought into my worlds, because you want it to feel real. Even though it's a made-up world, a fantasy world, you want it to feel like it's your reader's real world, so that it really kind of pulls them in and makes them live in that world. And so with the tattooed heart, yeah, he wanted to just gloss it over, and I'm like, no, that's not how it works. Stephen asks, how do you manage to balance the prep work and research and the actual work of putting words on the screen? I imagine research is a dangerous trap for procrastinators. Oh my god, yes! So, I am planning on using the, hey Damon, no, you haven't missed much. We went over a little bit of world building, but, nothing that I haven't already told you. Demon here is kind of the reason that this stream started. He asked me, he has a fanfic he wants to write, and he asked me about character bios and things, and I jokingly said maybe I should do a stream about it, and we were both kind of like, Yeah, let's do it. So this stream, you have Demon to thank for its existence. um, he is an awesome friend. Swaggy. So if you wanted to be a similar Earth, can you just use some stuff? Yes, I would say yes. Because for a tattooed heart, this goes back to Steven's question about the prep work and everything. I you see these boards behind me? That whiteboard has a to-do list on it. I'm a list maker. This is my room, in case you guys couldn't tell. The cork board right here, these notes are the bottom one here, where my finger is research on wish granting legends. Because a tattooed heart starts with a wish that didn't quite go as intended. The middle part is a to-do list. The top part is a further to-do list that is literally just countries to research. And I think there's about a dozen on there. And all of those I need to research, not as extensively as I would if I was using them for world building, but I do need to research like tourist places, and then some of the more like less tourist places, but places that you would want to go to see, like kind of one of those ask the local type places. That really aren't like part of a travel package or anything. In high school, I spent a week in Spain with my class, and we had a tour group, and like a whole travel agency put the package together for us and everything. So like you get a lot of the popular places, whereas like if you asked a local, hey, where would be a great place to go get a certain food or something, or just, what's a great place to go visit, they're going to have different places that aren't necessarily touristy, but are still really great experiences. So if you're outside of the US, feel free to send me a whisper of places in your country that are like that maybe aren't super popular with the tourists, but are still like beautiful places, or you get a really good experience, but aren't well known. Because I would love to use those in my story. I love finding places like that. So yeah, go ahead and do that, because it would be awesome. I would love it. But so, you're in the US. Okay. Well, some of my viewers are outside. Steven and Deary are both outside the US. So I do have viewers who are international, and David, Demon. Demon's Canadian. So technically he's outside the US, right? He's in North America. My footrest is being special. I have a footrest under my desk, because I'm short. But so, to answer your question, Stephen, the prep work and everything, I have a lot to get done before NaNoWriMo starts next month. For those of you that don't know, November is National Novel Writing Month. The goal is to write 50,000 words in 1 month. I did it last year and I failed miserably. I got about a fifth of that. I think I got about like 7,000 words. Yeah, I was not very committed. But I plan to use the tattooed heart for that, so I really need to get to work on the research. Yes, Stephen, we should do Nano together. It'll be awesome. I have a couple other friends that do it, that have been doing it for years. She's awesome at it. Swaggy, if you have got some good places from those travels, whisper me and let me know what they are, and I'll check them out. Because I definitely love suggestions. NaNoWriMo Demon, National Novel Writing Month, November. Nano is just an abbreviation for it. Yeah, we're going to get in the way this time and rob me of a third one. Oh, we have a Nano winner. Nice. So might wait until next year. Yeah. When you're a procrastinator, there's a lot you can get in trouble with yourself. I am quite the procrastinator at times. So oh no, you're fine, Steven. That's awesome. No, that's great. I'm pretty sure my friend Krista has won at least once as well. So you brag away. That is an awesome accomplishment. I have no problem with that. We all know Steven's super humble anyway. Those of us that have been in his stream. So he is totally allowed to brag a little. But yeah, I have a lot I need to get done if I'm going to use a tattooed heart for Nano. Otherwise, well, no matter what I choose, I'm going to end up having to do a lot of research. Nano is great for that. It's a get your butt in the chair and just write. Right? Yes, and it'll help you establish some good habits if you're planning to, make a go at it. Yes, Sis finally got her pizza after like a month of dying for pizza, and all of us going, "We're making pizza," and she's like, "I don't want to make pizza though," but she finally got it. Her boss was super nice and bought her pizza today. Did you do sprints last year? Sprints or those? No, I didn't really do much last year. Last year, I did work on the sequel to Presage, but I didn't do a lot. I wasn't really prepared as much as I should have been. So I'm hoping to go into NaNoWriMo much more prepared. So because the NaNoWriMo site is really great because you can track how many words you've written each day and then over the course of the whole thing, and it'll break it down of, okay, this is how much you need to write the next day. I had some things laid out because like I've said before, I've worked on Presage and its series since 2003 or 2004, so over 10 years I've been working on this off and on. So I have an outline for it and everything. Are there any chimera-like beasts in Presage? No, there is not, Demon. There are no chimeras. But creatures are another thing. The Adoxes are one that I came up with, and I'm going to embarrass myself a little bit by admitting that they are inspired by a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Dim, I had an idea for something like that. Yeah, no chimeras. What are you doing, Porky? What? We have a cat cam again. He's back. No, get off the chair. No. Hey. Hi. Get off the chair. Off the chair. You listen about as well as the kids do. Get down. Kitty, yes. Demon has seen lots of pictures of my kitty because I know him in real life. And really, if you follow me on Twitter, you see the occasional cat picture. Or more than occasional cat picture. Yes, I'm talking about you and not petting you. Deal with it. Like I said, no matter what I do for NaNoWriMo, I've got research I need to get done. if I do a tattooed heart, I've got all the cities I need to, or all the countries I need to do. Yuga story needs to be in the inevitable making of series for your own. Right? Oh, yeah. I was into Yu-Gi-Oh! In middle school. I had a deck and everything. You little butt, get off there. Hey, before you knock the TV over, get down. Oh, you're such a butt. This is what happens when you have cats. I totally agree, Damon. After the first series, really, I wasn't really interested in any of that. When you get into like the, what was it, Dual Dice Monsters or something? The one with the dice game board thing, and anything beyond that with like all that stuff. No thanks. Didn't really appeal to me. But I had an Exodia poster on my wall. I had my own deck. This girl that lived down the road from me, we rode the same bus to school because we lived out in the middle of freaking nowhere. So we would actually play Yu-Gi-Oh! On the bus because we had like an hour bus ride total. Yeah, it was great. GX, 5DS, yes, all of that stuff was just like, no thanks. Did not interest me at all. But so the Adoxies came from the Feral Imp. What the fuck, cat? My cat just like freaked out and like bolted out of the room for no reason. Probably because the train is going by. We have train tracks that run behind our house. They're not usually super loud, but I think that's what like freaked him for a minute there. But the Adoxies are similar to the Feral Imp card that they had. So that's where I got that from. Yeah. Though Kariba was totally my favorite. That little guy is so cute. So cute and fluffy. But yeah, that's where that came from. And their name is actually Exodia backwards. Yeah. And slightly changed. But yeah, I drew some inspiration from them. Oh, my tattoo is on that shoulder, and I'm not supposed to itch it. But it's itchy. My tattoos are healing well. Dark Magician, of course. Of course you picked Dark Magician, girl. Yep, that's exactly you. Okay. So yeah, but don't be afraid to draw your inspiration from the world around you, because you never know where you're gonna find your inspiration. That's why I have notebooks of things, so I can keep track of things. You have a character based off of Yu-Gi-Oh! Very nice, very nice. I've never been able to like write fanfic. I've been tempted to before, but I've never been able to do it myself. Like I don't really like going off of already done things, if that makes sense. I prefer to make my own. I just find that much more satisfying, to make my own world with my own characters. Part of my list back there is the character bios for a tattooed heart, because there are a lot of different variables that you can have within that world, and so there's some research that needs to be done with that, so that I get it right, but also so that I can create my own characters. And those of you that have been around for my readings the last couple of weeks will probably notice that my characters do have flaws. They doubt themselves. They get angry with each other. They don't always get along. they do disagree, and that causes all sorts of problems with interactions, and you'll actually see that more as we get more into it, as certain relationships deteriorate and others build up. Yes, Demon. For those of you that weren't here 2 weeks ago, one of my characters, well, actually, even last week with Kariko and her memories of things, the things that she went through, with that mayor, that when she realized he was the one responsible for her scars, that comes into play later on, as she starts to remember things that happened to her more and more, as she was out wandering before Rose found her. It'll get really dark at times, especially when it comes to that mayor. He was a really twisted individual. 1 second, guys. Before that, in like the second chapter, no, not second, third chapter, yeah, third chapter. A lot of it is I don't want to ruin anything, Demon. But yeah, you're pretty close. Not quite to that extent, but yeah, he's not one of the good guys. But in like the third or fourth chapter, you see a couple of dream sequences from Rose. I'm not a huge fan of the dream sequences. They're not going to be a constant thing in my series. But these were used to show Rose's psyche, and how sometimes things that happen to you in your waking hours will affect your sleep, and come out in your dreams. For her, those dreams, the first one was really, a pretty mundane dream. The second one was full-blown nightmare, like horror story nightmare. And in it, she finds herself bound to her friends, unable to control her own body, and these shadowy figures are responsible for this. They are controlling her body, and they force her to murder her friends in the dream. And like that's one of her biggest fears, is losing those closest to her, which a lot of people can relate to. It doesn't necessarily translate into a bloody nightmare, but it's one of those things that makes a character more relatable, is when you can give them something that give the reader something that they can relate to. And I don't write intentionally for that. I don't sit here and go, okay, what's going to make my reader want to read this? I don't dwell on that kind of thing. I let the story flow. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You need to be happier. Those are called trusted first readers. I have 2 of them. Demon is one, and Steven is the other. And I think I've also given it to Sis. I don't know how far she's read or anything yet, though. Steven has given me a lot of great advice. Steven, I don't know how far into it you are, since I sent you the latest copy. Demon, you need to read more. Demon has only read to the 3rd chapter, through the nightmares. So, Demon, you need to read more. Yeah, well, yeah, at least you have an excuse. Demon's just a WoW addict. But Stephen has given me a lot of great advice, and that led to a lot of changes that I made. Demon as well. Demon is responsible for like Demon was the one responsible for pointing out the need for name changes for Kijani, Talon, and Rigdon. Because they really, their original names really didn't fit how they have changed since the time I originally wrote Presage. I have a couple of notebooks that Presage was originally written in. I think there's like 4 in total. But the story has changed so much since I originally wrote it that those versions are fairly obsolete now. Skullstream, one of my friends and fellow streamers, he jokingly suggested that if I were to start a Patreon, I should use the obsolete versions as a reward for my patrons, because they're so obsolete that it wouldn't matter if somebody tried to, steal the material, kind of thing. I don't think I would ever do that, though. I usually end up throwing away things that I don't need anymore, in regards to that. As there are times where I write by hand because I'll get writer's block. So my best writer's block advice is to write by hand instead of on the computer. Polar, what's up? How's your Saturday going? Glad you could make it. Polar is awesome. We all love Polar. Polar. Yeah, so when I get writer's block, I write by hand. And then I'll type it up and usually edit it as I type it up, which is how I originally wrote back in high school. I would write during my study halls if I had nothing to do. So I always write with the view to be adjusted. Yes. Yes, never be afraid of your edits. Christopher Paolini, you'll find me quoting him a lot. Because he gives really great advice, and he's an awesome author. I love his work, and I cannot wait for his next one to come out that he is working on. Christopher Paolini will tell you one thing that I've heard him say to beginning writers is write every day. You can edit bad writing. You can't edit no writing. So as long as you're getting those words on the page, you can always go back and edit. But if you don't write anything, you have nothing to edit. Presage has gone through a title change, a length change is the most recent change. That length change I talked about last week, that I added like 30,000 words in one weekend and then edited those 30,000 words in one day. So, don't be afraid of changes. Very in line with the NaNoWriMo thinking. Yes, exactly. NaNoWriMo is very much just get the words on the page and edit it later. Don't worry about editing while you're doing NaNoWriMo, because then you'll never get anything written, which is true anytime. I have a few things, nothing like book-worthy. You never know. Like I said, it's taken me over a decade off and on of working on Presage. So don't give up. A friend of mine, it took him a couple hundred rejections, and he's overseas, and it took him querying U.S. agents before he got a literary agent and got published. I am currently sitting at, I've queried almost 200 agents, and I've either not heard back from or gotten rejections from about half of those. I think currently it's something like 50 or more rejections, which Sis and Demon can attest to this the other night of what happened. I got a rejection email at about 9 o'clock at night, Central U.S. time, on, what was that, Tuesday? Wednesday? Sometime earlier this week. And my phone is synced, so I get the notices on my phone when I get an email. So my ringtone for my email went off, and I flipped it down, and I looked at it, and I went, Gah! And my husband was sitting on the bed behind me, and I was just like, nah! And I literally, like, threw my phone on my desk, and he's like, what? And I'm like, this rejection letter! And, I'm gonna pull it up so I can read it to you guys, because I don't remember exactly how it's phrased, and I want to get it right. Yeah, I was not a happy rose. I was so frustrated. It was ridiculous, because it was one of those, it's the second time this kind of rejection has happened out of the 100-some that I've sent, 50-some that I've gotten replies back from. So, it was one of those that I was just like, oh my god, kind of moments. The agent says, thank you for the opportunity to consider your work, but I am sorry to say that I do not think this material would be right for me. And, oh wait, no, this is the wrong one. Hang on. I got another one recently, so, let me get the right one, because I don't want to read the wrong one. Here it is. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing Presage of the Past with me. Though I think you have an interesting story here, I didn't quite fall in love with it in the way I need to in order to request more. This is a subjective industry. I'm sure another agent will feel differently, and I wish you the best of luck on your writing journey. So, like, it's one of those, like, she liked it. It's interesting, but not enough to want to read more. And I had somebody else, before I made the huge edition in the one weekend, the reason that came about was another rejection email that I got that literally said that she read it with great interest and had to reject it because, of all things, my manuscript was less than 100,000 words, and most traditional publishers of fantasy novels would look for 100,000 word count or higher. Literally, that was like the only thing she pointed out. And I was just like, are you freaking kidding me? This close to getting one. And then there's always that one little thing that you're just like, no, kind of thing. So, like, I can handle the rejections, trust me. But when it's such a little thing where it's like, but your word count isn't enough, and you're just like, why didn't I know this months ago before I queried this person? Um, um, and then you get ones like this one that are like, oh, you've got a great story idea, it's really interesting, but kind of thing. So, well, at least you didn't get rejected in front of 500 people. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Swaggy. That does suck. Oh, yeah. That's fine. um, but these rejections where you're like, it's one little technical thing, as Steven said, it's a technical rejection. Those are even harder to deal with than the standard, it's just not right for me or our company or whatever kind of thing. So, my husband is bringing thingies in. What? Oh, that's... David! David! Look what came! Look! Look what came! Demon knows what that is because he sent it. But it came! Demon sent a care package. I'm all excited. Yes, it's a package. That was my husband bringing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, what is this? Oh! That thing came early too. Like, most of the stuff that my husband just brought in, I was not expecting until next week. Like, middle of next week. This one is chalkboard. It's a vinyl chalkboard. That you peel it and stick it on the wall. So I'm excited. The care package that Demon sent is chocolates that we don't get here in the US that he gets up there. So I am all excited. True Blood fan 69 and I are splitting those. Because she lives near me. But yeah, the chalkboard thing I'm really excited about because those of you that follow me on Twitter may have seen my tweet about chalkboard spray paint. It did not work very well. I ran out of the spray paint about 3/4 of the way through the second coat. So yeah, it's not very, and it didn't work very well. So I broke down and ordered what I should have ordered in the first place. The vinyl ones. It's like, I don't even remember how much it was, like how big it was. I know it's like 18 feet, or 18 inches, not feet, 18 inches wide. And then I think it's like, I want to say it's like 6 feet long worth of it. You should open it. Do you want me to? I will. I will totally open it right now. But yeah, so this thing is gonna go. You guys can't see it. My desk is against my far wall, and my closet is right next to my desk. So it's gonna actually go on the door to my closet. Okay, live unboxing. Yes, this is totally getting off track of what we were doing, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Cause I'm excited to see. I mean, he told me some of the stuff he was sending, but I'm so excited. I like chocolate. Chocolate. And he even made sure some of them were peanut free for me so I don't die eating chocolate. Cause not dying is always good, right? Not dying. Open! Oh my god, the tape in the middle, like... doesn't want to break. Because they, like, quadruple taped it there or something. Okay. Let's see what we got. Let's close this tab. I don't need that tab open anymore. Okay. Yay! What do we got? Oh! These are the things you're talking about. Smarties! These are not what Smarties are in the US. These are different Smarties. Sorry for all the tape I didn't want to get. No, it's totally cool. This amount of tape is nothing compared to my husband's mother's amount of tape on packages. So I'm totally cool with your amount of tape. So these are Canadian Smarties that are kind of like M&Ms. In the US, this is not what Smarties are. So this is awesome. Small candies may pose a choking hazard. Duh. With proper Smarties. See, okay, there you go, Steven. Demon, yeah, Steven knows what you're talking about. Yeah, Smarties in the UK and Ireland. I don't think I have any Smarties here. I think the kids ate them all already. But Smarties in the US are like little sweet tart things. I don't even know. Hang on. I'm gonna mute myself for a second. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, they're kind of like chalk, yeah. I was yelling to my husband to go look in the kids' candy drawer and see if there are any in there. I'm sure after Halloween we probably have them, but this way for anybody that doesn't know what they are, what I'm talking about for the US Smarties, if he finds any. Alright. Coffee Crisp. That should be interesting. Multi-language ingredient. Because Canada. Do we have any?
Nope, no Smarties.
No? Okay.
It's most Canadian Smarties.
They're like M&Ms. Steven totally knew. He called them proper Smarties. Coffee Crisp. I know, you won't eat those. You guys can totally hear my husband, I know, but you won't be able to see him.
I tried, but...
This one is for True Blood fan, because it's got peanuts. It's kind of like a Payday. My husband's standing off to the side over here. You just can't see him. So these are kind of like the like Paydays in the US. I think because Paydays are like a nougat with peanut around them. So that's that. These ones are the ones that were just for me. That he specifically found for me. They're hazelnut crisps. Chocolate hazelnut crisps. I love chocolate and hazelnut. So this is a happy day. I like this. I think that's everything in here. There are multiples of each thing. So I'm just kind of like sorting through those. Yeah, I think that's all of it. So Demon, if you haven't already, you should go let our other friends know that the chocolates have arrived. There's a wafer inside with caramel. Yeah, so it's kind of similar, but with a wafer. Alright. I can't have Twix. Anything made by Mars? Whoever makes Twix. 1 second. No, nudge my door shut. More, anyway. Yes. I was trying not to use her real name, Damon. Um, just send it in our group Facebook chat. She'll get it. Where did you go, cat? Oh, my cat went. I don't want him getting into things. I forgot what I was going to say now. The other things that came were Christmas presents for Demon's niece, my kids, and my other nieces and nephew. I'm going to hop off to play WoW. Why I'm not surprised by this. Go kill some demons. Have fun. Alright. So, now that we've been fully distracted by packages arriving that we weren't expecting, let's get back to this. So I think we've fairly well covered character creation, world creation. If anybody's got questions on that, you go ahead and say them in chat, and we'll bounce back to it if we need to. As for character bios and character creation, like I've mentioned, I like to make them as relatable as possible, but like I don't intentionally sit here and go, okay, what about this character is gonna make people like them, kind of thing. I write my characters so that they fit the world they're going into and the storyline. Demon's actually gonna miss this again. He helped me create a character. He wanted a character written. He wanted to help create a character, and I actually happened to need a character. This is not the notebook I want. I don't think anyone. No. Fudge. What did I do with it? Is it in corner there? Probably. Yep. Maybe. Maybe not. There's something specific I'm looking for. Because we actually ended up revising his character recently. What's the difference between minor and support? Swaggy, you were here last week, right? For my read-through? Because I'll use an example from what I read last week if you were. Oh, wait. What the flip is my thing? I don't know what I did with it. Yes, okay. So, sorry, I'm looking at my desk over here. Or my shelves over here. There's something specific I was looking for, and I can't find it, and I don't know where it is. I'll find it later. Okay, so the difference between minor and support is last week when they were traveling to find out more about Kiriko, and they stopped in all of those towns. All of those characters are minor characters. The example would be Thomas and Mama. They're kind of there, but they're not integral to the story. Like, the story could go on without them being there. Whereas support characters, Rose is my main character. Matthias, Regden, and Talon are all main characters. Support characters would be like Kiriko and Tak, the dragons. I don't want to say too much because there's a couple of other characters that will come into play within the next few chapters, who are also support characters and minor characters. Minor characters you might see a couple of times throughout a book or throughout a series. but you're not going to be constantly on them, like Rose and Regden and Kuriko and all of them. They're not always there. Like I said, minor characters, you can cut them out and it's not going to affect the story any. Whereas if I were to cut out Kuriko, I'm cutting out a lot, like half of my entire series. So, does that give you a better idea about the difference between minor and support? That should give you a better idea, I think. If it doesn't, just ask away and I'll try my best to explain better. But for character creation, especially for like an original character, yes, tea break, go for it. I would probably get some in a bit, or some apple cider. My throat's a little scratchy today, even though I haven't been talking that long. An hour and a half. Okay, good. So for character creation, original characters can be a little more difficult, because you're starting completely from scratch. So, I'm gonna open, I didn't have this open. Hi, Porky. What you doing? Sneaking in, not so sneakily. My cat thinks he's sneaky, but he's not sneaky. Let me pull up here. I need to rename these. I don't have their new names on here. So this is Rose's bio. As you can see, it is 5 pages long. The margins are set up a little weird though, but I need to update this bio a bit too, and get rid of some of the notes and stuff, because a lot of this is actually changed throughout the writing, and some of it is notes from my former co-author, who is still involved, somewhat. What are you doing, Tesla? You're stalking Porky, aren't you? She likes to stalk my cat. What? Leave my phone charger alone, please. Tesla's a rescue kitty, and she's not always, knows what to do with cords and things, or what not to do, more specifically. She likes to chew on things she shouldn't. No, I'm not saying you need 5 pages. This is Rose's. These are all of my main characters. My secondaries, let me see. Thomas, that we just read about. This is literally his. 2 paragraphs. So make it as detailed as it needs to be, or as undetailed as it needs to be. And this is actually both him and his mother. For him, because he's a minor character, just super basic. His main interaction with the support character in question, Kuriko, tiny little bit of backstory so that you get a feel for the character, and that's about it. Whereas Rose's, and let me see, main characters. Let's open Megaeus. Shadow, thank you for the host. Megaeus is 2 pages. So it's all really about, that's not even 2 pages. Well, that page doesn't belong there. I don't need that page. So his is actually only 1 page. I do need to update them a little bit. Why is that green? You can tell it's been a while since I've looked at these. because usually once I write them, I don't need them. Rose is extensive. I am. These bios, though, also include not just their physical description and their personality, but also the character-specific timeline. Let me see. I think Kariko might have a better one. Nope. So, like, a lot of this is Rose's timeline. Not only within Presage, but also previously. Yes, I knew you. Oh, didn't you have something to do tonight, Shadow? But I hope you feel better. I'm sorry you don't feel good. I thought you guys were raiding or something. D&D with school. Sweet, so I need to put little markers so I can tell who's being sport. These let me, whoops, that's not what I wanted to click. Nope, close to you. Here. If you're talking about this stuff, this is a comment that my co-author tagged on it. But like organization wise, if you're talking about like the folders that I have, main characters and secondary characters, that's not a bad idea. I am very like detail oriented and my sister's way worse. My sister is OCD. But yeah, if organize what in a way that makes sense for you. So like I have all of my main characters here. I have 2 versions because I don't have Microsoft Word anymore because my computer crashed and was dumb a couple years ago. And then I have the one for my secondary characters and creatures. This one here is the one that Demon helped me create. So his was pretty basic to start with, and then when we revised, we added more to him in terms of backstory and whatnot. And then like I have other Dragon Knights like Rose and Regdan, but they serve in other kingdoms. That's why they're secondary characters and minor characters. But yeah, I personally separate them out because I don't often look at my minor characters and secondary characters bios. They don't often get changed because they're not integral to the story. But my main characters, let's see. Oh, guys, I just fixed. It's been over a year since I looked at them last, but you'll notice that they're all on the same day. That's because I edited them. Because I had to fix a continuity error that I had made. And it changed a lot of things. So when you edit, what if he keeps coming into the story? Then he is not a minor character. He is a supporting character. Ask yourself the question, if I cut this character out, does it change the story immeasurably? Would I have to rewrite my whole story? If the answer is yes, that is not a minor character. That is a supporting character or a main character. And so you would have to decide how you want to handle him. Because generally a minor character is somebody that's going to be there once. maybe 2 or 3 times at most. And like I said, minor characters, you can cut them out and it's not going to be a big deal. But if he keeps coming into the story, you've got a support or a major on your hands. And that's not a bad thing necessarily. Some of my characters originally were going to be minor or support, and they became support or major, depending on the character. So, roll with the changes. Some of my characters, the way they originally started with the obsolete version that I mentioned earlier, they've changed a lot since the original writing. So don't be afraid of the change. If you find your character growing more than you expected, or changing as your writing gets better, go with it. Again, Christopher Paolini. Aragon, the character, was originally written to kind of be Christopher. And then, as he continued to write, and his writing evolved, so did Aragon, and Aragon became his own person. And, the story took a direction that he hadn't originally planned, but it worked. So, a lot of times, you really want to make sure that the changes work within your story, and that you're not just making these changes because you want to, or somebody tells you to. I really like one character in my story, she's a main too. Yeah, you can have more than one main. If you've read George R.R. Martin, he's got a lot of main characters, specifically in A Song of Ice and Fire, the Game of Thrones series. I've read at least one other of his work. Fever Dream. Fever Dream is an excellent book, I will add. So if you like George R.R. Martin's style, but you're not really into everything that's in Game of Thrones, like all the murder and stuff, definitely read Fever Dream. It's a completely different style. Well, not style. I don't want to say genre either, because it's still a fantasy genre. I don't really know how to describe it, but Fever Dream is really good. So if you like George R.R. Martin, but you don't like Game of Thrones, go for Fever Dream. I know I got a lot of help with this one. Yeah, I've mentioned it before. I have a group chat on Facebook that is me, Demon, Sis, True Blood Fan 69, and a couple of other people that aren't on Twitch. That we all know each other in real life. We've known each other, some of us for more than a decade. The rest of us just a couple of years. But I bounce ideas off of them all the time. Of, what do you guys think of this idea? Kind of thing. Group chat love, yes. Yeah. Sis can attest to this. She helped with a tattooed heart as well. The story is going to deal with a lot of murder or killing. In that case, I do suggest that you read Game of Thrones then, because there's a lot of murder and killing. Game of Thrones would give you a good idea of how to vary those deaths, and give you a good way of seeing how a writer can describe those in different ways. What's another good one for that? Look at my bookshelf. The Shadow Dance series by David Dalglish. I'm gonna type that out in chat. If I can type, which I can't. Shadow Dance series by David Dalglish. I have the edited and republished version of the Shadow Dance series that recently came out. It's... I don't... Oops, that's not what I meant. I don't remember when or where the original was published, or under... I think it was still under the same name, same series name. But his series deals with assassins. It's a fantasy series, but it deals with assassination. And so there's a lot of different murders in his series, and his also gets into the psychology of being an assassin, and taking those lives, both on the one side of, is what I'm doing right and just, and on the other side of give me the right amount of money and I'll do it kind of thing. So his is a really great series for that too. So both, I would recommend both Game of Thrones and the Shadow Dance series, not only because they're great books, but also to help see how two different authors write death scenes. Because David Douglas especially has some really interesting fight scenes and death scenes in it. So I would definitely suggest both of those. Let's see. There are 5 or 6 books, I think, to David Dalglish's series. For survival also. Yeah, I would definitely recommend David Dalglish for surviving attacks. One second. I could hear my kids yelling. My husband's taking care of it though. Survival. What kind of survival are you thinking? Are we talking surviving attacks? Are we talking surviving in the wilderness? Regular life struggle survival? Depending on the answer, I probably have a series I can recommend. So, cat. As like for the character bios, I would say start simple with your super basic stuff. I will show you guys one of my really, really basic ones. This is like one of my super basic ones. This is for a story that doesn't even have a title yet. That is it's set in our world, zombie apocalypse. Daniel is the main character, and he is a time traveler from the future who was originally sent back with a cure for the outbreak, but the cure of the vial breaks, and he knows how to make the cure, which is why he was chosen to be sent back, but nobody will listen to him because he has no proof, and they think he's crazy. Because, hey, I'm a time traveler from the future. Who doesn't think that's crazy? So he throughout the story is trying to figure out how to get people to listen to him. But this is his very basic thing, and as I work on the timeline for the story more, this will evolve more. So there's that. There we go. kind of 12 Monkeys like, yeah, kind of like that, Stephen. Swaggy says, my novel deals with being stuck in a game and the only life you have is yours to win. Gotta beat the main boss to get sent back to his world. So, oh, is this the SAO type that you were talking about? I would definitely say David Dalglish will help you with the fight scenes. I don't want to give too much away because it's a really great series. That I would highly recommend. So yeah, I would say David Dalglish would help with that. More than Game of Thrones would. Because it gets into like the politics of it as well. So kind of the maneuvering of certain assassin groups and everything. David Dalglish. I did write it in chat, but I will write it again. David Dalglish. Typing. Dalglish. Great author. It would definitely help. What was I gonna say? There was something else about him I was gonna say, and now I don't remember what. Yes. It's supposed to line up with his something. It's supposed to line up with one of his other series. That name sounds Scottish. If I remember correctly, he's actually an American author. That doesn't mean his last name isn't Scottish, but he's got really good character building as well. Because, like I said, you may have noticed a lot of my characters are flawed in some way. I don't specifically create them with flaws, but I think it makes them more human to have some sort of flaw. Rose is very strong and confident, self-assured, but she's also very stubborn. And while she is caring and selfless, sometimes she's a little too caring and a little too selfless. Sometimes she doesn't quite take care of herself like she should. She doubts herself a lot too. I think somebody pointed that out in the last stream, when talking about her healing and how much it bothers her about her limitations. Hurricane is coming for me, by the way. So stay safe, Polar. Don't get blown away. We would be sad, Panda. Let's see. Most of my characters were created just, as like plot fillers sometimes. I call it my info notebook. Yes. I will show you something here. One second. Nope, not that one. Yeah. All of these are for Presage alone. Yes, I didn't say it wasn't a Scottish last name. I'm saying he's an American author. But all of these alone are for one book / series. Mostly for one book. This one? Sorry. Yeah. This one and this one. These two purple ones are literally just notes about the series. About things that are planned for the series, notes to myself about what needs to get done. These three. These three are the aforementioned obsolete original version of Presage and sequel. Dang girl, how many pencils have you got through? Actually, I write in pen. I go through a lot of pens. Is the answer. Those were all written, the last three that I showed were all written 10 years ago. 10 plus years ago. So, yeah. I go through a lot of notebooks and a lot of pens. I actually have a box full of them. I'm having trouble picking between male or female characters. Watch out, octopi is coming for right? I need more ink. As for picking between male or female characters, a lot of that depends on your story and your storyline. For A Tattooed Heart, I decided that my main character, one of the main, the one that is the immortal who is killing her soulmate, to stay forever young, is a girl. Because I felt like it fit the character more than the male being the murderer. Because why would a guy do it? I couldn't really come up with any reasons why a male character would do this, whereas a female character might be, I don't want to say vain, but more likely, because she's literally just, her motivation is literally just because she wants to stay young forever. She's not doing it because she was hurt by so many guys before and doesn't want to risk that, or because she doesn't trust guys or anything like that, and none of the cliche reasons. And while I haven't written her bio yet, I do have a few notes to myself about her. She is not going to be your typical femme fatale. She's not going to be that super gorgeous, everyone falls for her type. She's not going to be the super pretty type. She's going to be very normal, because that helps her kind of blend in and make it harder to find her, because one of the other characters is a detective who has put the pieces together along with other detectives over the years of this same person, this same male victim shows up every so often, and they all have the same mark, which means they all have the same soulmate. Reincarnation. So, you want her to be able to blend in. You don't want her to stand out, because somebody would have noticed her sooner then. And then she probably wouldn't have managed to stay young forever like she has. A couple hundred years at this point. So, a lot of it is going to figure into what the character's motives are, what their place in the story is, because there will be point of views in A Tattooed Heart from her soulmate's side. He is in witness protection, essentially. I haven't decided yet whether he will know why, or whether it's just one of those, you're in this protection and we're not going to tell you why kind of thing. Because both give their own different storyline. Him knowing why he's in protection, because his soulmate wants to kill him, gives kind of a psychological twist to it of what does that do to a person? You know, would they resign themselves to the fact that they're going to live forever in protection until they die, kind of thing? Hey, DJ! Thank you for the host. It doesn't show up on my Twitch XSplit that you hosted, but I looked at my phone, so I saw that. Thank you. So yeah, a lot of it goes into the psychology of your character. And whether you think it would be better served as a male or a female. So that's for Tattooed Heart. You can add the URL for Twitch alerts, Streamlabs. No, like in my XSplit on the Twitch chat thing. It's fine. I saw it on my phone. It's okay. I'm kind of tired. But thank you for the tip. Sorry, my voice. So you can add the alert to the next one. Okay. Lynn, thank you for the host. I haven't seen you in ages. I saw you hosting earlier, but yeah. Yes, isn't it, DJ? I don't think you were here last week to see it after I fixed it. So, yeah. DJ was very helpful in fixing it. Because I'm adding a twist. I feel like he'd fit better. Well, there you go. If it feels right, go with it. You can always change it later. We've talked a lot about changes this stream. You can always change it later. A funny thing I like to tell, another Christopher Paolini anecdote, is he likes to talk about how Aragon the character was not originally named Aragon. His original first name was Kevin. So, can you imagine reading about the dragon rider Kevin instead of Aragon, the dragon rider? So, I will always recommend the Inheritance Cycle. Yes, Kevin, can you believe that? Like, yeah, he talked about it in, I think, a Google Hangout or an interview at some point. Yeah, very American, right? Very Montanan, if you ask me. I will always recommend Inheritance Cycle. It's one of the, besides Harry Potter, it's one of the series that really got me reading more. When you need a name, throw it in, then later you'll feel, yes, exactly. Like I said before, my Montanan. It is now! That's right, DJ, it is now! I don't know what they call people from Montana. I assumed Montanan, or I don't know. Montanian? I don't know. That's a weird one. I mean, Iowan. I'm an Iowan. So, there you go. The Great Adventures of Kevin sounds like a great book, right? You can write that one, because Montanonians? Oh, that sounds like a terrible one. Yeah, I don't even know. DJ, what's yours? Illinoisan, right? Yeah, Illinoisan? That's another weird one. Hey, Nissan! Yeah, there's weird ones. How are you, Nissan? I don't know how much longer we'll keep going. We've kind of gotten Chicagoans. I wasn't talking about the city. I was talking about the state. But it's just Illinois residents. No, it's not. You're full of crap. Cat's on the bed again. Look, you can see a Tesla. Sort of. Yes, it is. Whatever. No, I've heard Illinoisans way more than I've ever heard Illinois residents. You're... whatever. Whatever. Now I'm a North Carolinian. Carolina. Yeah, I don't know about that one. The Illinois are an Indian tribe for University of Illinois, so no one uses the term Illinoisans. If that's not a word. Whatever. Seriously, I've heard Illinoisan like my entire life, so okay. But yeah, we'll go with that. Sure. You know I'm just giving you crap, DJ. You make it too easy. We have really gotten sidetracked now. Let's see. But only for you're from my I'll make this. Listen. Oh, DJ. I'm good working on a Pixelmon map. Minecraft, nice. I'm good. This looks like a job for Google. Oh no, we were derailed before you came in, DJ. Polar Bear's going to Google again. He Googled David Dalglish earlier. Too bad Shadow's sick, otherwise he would have derailed me long before this with Harambe. Look, we made it 2 hours before we mentioned Harambe. Okay, Swaggy. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I was going to talk about for sure today. Harambe, right? Right? Where's Sis? Badge out for Harambe, right? Is she even still in the chat? I don't even know. We've derailed so far now. I don't even know. Alright. So, I've also been asked before, what inspires my characters. And I've covered that before, so we'll cover it again. Yeah, you haven't been around for the Harambe stuff, Stephen. I apologize. You're about to get full force Harambe. Yeah. Harambe derails all the time. I'm sleepy, half awake, listening to Rose's voice. Oh, yeah, you've been working for like 7 days straight, honey. You need to go sleep. So inspiration for my characters. Rose was based on teenage me. She was a lot of things I am and a lot of things I wasn't. Places. Call people from Illinois. 7th day waking up at 4 a.m. Yeah, you go take a nap. Oh, see, I was right. Illinoisan. Suck it, DJ. Back to characters. So like I said, Rose is very strong-willed, confident, self-assured. Everything teenage me wasn't. So I wrote her a lot. Right? That one was just like, what? Yeah, I don't know about that one. But I've changed a lot, and Rose has changed a lot. So there are things about me, like, I am super stubborn. But I'm not always as confident as Rose is. Talon was originally created by my co-author, and to the bar for the Cubs to beat the Giants. Yeah, good luck with that, DJ. But have fun, enjoy. So Talon was originally created by my co-author, and so he is very much a personification of that close friend, who is like a male version of me. He is just as strong-willed and intelligent and caring. He's more realistic than I am. I tend to be more of a daydreamer than him, but we're very much two peas in a pod. He's awesome. I still bounce ideas off of him from time to time. Kariko and Thorn were added as plot twists. They were created specifically for plot twists. I don't want to say too much about Thorn because we haven't met her in the story yet. But you will see her plot twist very soon. Very, very soon. Kariko, her physical appearance was designed to unsettle the other main characters. Because how often are you going to run into somebody with blood red eyes? Yes, Steven, Sky and I were playing some Pixelmon the other day, and suddenly the textures switched around, so it just got crazy, but I'm trying to build a map and then get some people to play on it. Awesome, Nissen! I don't play Minecraft myself, because I can never figure out how to build anything in it, but that is awesome. This is my bad. Polar, you're terrible. So Kariko is very much a plot twist in the sense that she unsettles them in her appearance and then also with everything she's been through. It really kind of like the faith in humanity restored. Hers is more of a faith in humanity lost moment. Because of everything she's been through. Thorn, her physical appearance also is unsettling. And you'll see. You'll see in our next read through. Because we are very close to introducing Thorn. She's the youngest character I've ever written. And probably ever will write. Well, no. Not ever will write. There'll be a younger one in a different story. But her character gives that much more unsettling of the other characters, but then it also her appearance in the book, like her introduction in the book, also upsets a lot of dynamics in a couple of relationships. One for the better and one for the worse. So we will talk about Thorn again later, after she has made her appearance in the book. Somebody's tweeting me. Skull, really? You tweet that, but then you don't. But then you're not in my chat. It's your butt in my stream. And then Tier is one that we also haven't introduced, but in the story, he comes in way later in the story, about 3/4 of the way through or so. Tier is the one that Demon helped me create, whose description I was looking for earlier to show you guys the changes that were made. Because he started out pretty basic, just kind of filled the gap, and then we revised him and kind of changed him for the better, but like also made him fit better in the story. So like he's kind of an interesting one. Like I said, usually I have all of my characters written out or planned out before I start it, but as I was writing the sequel to Presage, which is now part of Presage, I really should have turned that off. I'm gonna turn that down. So you guys don't hear that. As I got to a certain point, not even very far into Presage's sequel, I realized there was a character I needed that I hadn't created yet. And then Demon was like, hey, I want to create a character. So I was like, okay, well, this is the kind of thing I need, so you got something with that? So Tier is kind of this interesting mix of Deadpool, Batman, and Bruce Lee. He's sassy as hell, like Deadpool. He's got certain morals, like Batman, that kind of sort of clash with the Deadpool morals, but like they work together kind of thing. And then the Bruce Lee aspect is the martial arts and the physical strength. So he's kind of this whole ball of interesting. He's not a main character. He's not even really a supporting character. He's a minor character. He's the man they need for this job that needs to get done. And of course, for the right price, he'll do it. But he has his boundaries. There are certain things he won't do regardless of the money. And there are times where he'll do it for the money, but not necessarily willingly. So Shadow knows a lot about Batmans. Yes, Shadow makes Batmans. So those are the Presage ones that really kind of stuck out to me as examples of different characters created for different reasons. For Cormanthier, Azella has one of the hardest backstories I've ever written. Even more so than Kariko. Y'all thought Rose's dreams were dark? Take that times 10, at least, and you get Azella's background. Zell had... Her father was extremely abusive to her mother and eventually killed her when Azella was young. And then, in that same instance, beat Zell nearly to death. Then went back to the bar because he's a drunk, covered in their blood. Didn't care. Didn't deny it when they arrested him on the spot either. So she's got a really messed up family. Her supporting main character, Takahashi, is not quite as bad, but his is more of a... Hers was the physical abuse. His is more of a mental thing. Not that he's crazy or anything, but Shadow just likes making Batmans, right? Right? He does. For Cormanthier's world, I could spend a whole stream telling you about the world creation of Cormanthier. So maybe the next world building stream, we'll talk about Cormanthier. Because there's a lot of detail for Cormanthier. But for Takahashi, his parents tried to sell him into service to a demon, which is like one of the worst taboos you can commit in their society, and is punishable by death for the parents. And he wasn't a baby either, so he knows, like, he understands that his parents knew what they were doing. Because demons, selling somebody to a demon is basically acknowledging the fact that you know that they're just going to be tortured to death for a long time. Like, slow torture to death. In every way imaginable. So his parents knew what they were doing, and he was old enough at the time to understand what his parents were doing. He knew what would happen, basically. So while Zella has the physical scars, Taka has the mental scars from that. And so they both have a really hard time trusting people for different reasons. So yeah. So my soul to demons, I've gotten used to it. Nissen, this isn't just his soul, this is his body too. So like, yeah, it's even worse. But you know, everyone hates having their soul to demons. Except for the Winchesters. Points if you get the reference. So like I said, in general, all of my characters have some sort of flaw. Whether it is the emotional or psychological damage of Zell and Taka, or like Kariko, who is super suspicious of everyone because of the things that have happened to her and just by nature. 8 points for yay! Steven gets points. 10 points to Steven. Maybe the demon could do something with my nails. Maybe Nissen. Maybe. And then you have Rose, who is maybe a little too trusting sometimes. Always wants to see the good in people. Gives them the benefit of the doubt kind of thing. There's another character who hasn't shown up yet, who I think I introduced him about halfway through. So maybe in 5 or 6 chapters he gets introduced, I think. Maybe a little more than that. His flaw, for lack of a better word, is his manipulation and arrogance. And he's not really based on anyone that I know in real life. Some of my characters are, but he's not really. But he has tried a lot of things to make his goals happen, and he got a lot of people to do his dirty work for him. And exploring his psychology is interesting. Because really without him, none of this would exist. None of this series would exist. Because it all started with something he and his parents put into motion like 20, 30 years before the start of the story. So without that event, we wouldn't have the events of the story, kind of thing. And eventually I do plan on writing the prequel. Possibly more than one, but there will be parts that explain that. So psychology plays a lot into my characters. I really like to explore the psychology and sociology of my characters. Those fields of study have always interested me. They're not necessarily something I would want to make a career out of, but I like to explore those aspects because I think it really does make my characters more relatable to normal readers or any reader. Having those flaws and examining why someone does what they do makes them more real. And the more real you can make your characters in your world, the more people are going to be drawn into them and really feel like they are living in this world, living through these characters. And I say this all the time, the best books out there are the ones that you lose yourself in, where you just completely lose all sense of the world around you. I've told this story before. My family loves telling this story all the time. In high school, I read a lot. I still read a lot. Not as much as I did back then, but when I read, I get absorbed in a book. And I will be totally oblivious to the world around me for the most part. And it got to the point where my parents wouldn't let me read in my bedroom anymore because I wouldn't be aware of them trying to talk to me or trying to call me to supper or something. They'd have to actually go into my room and be like, hey, food, kind of thing, because I wouldn't realize they were yelling down the hall for me. And so they made me sit on the couch in the living room, and I would still lose myself in my books, in reading my books, and my dad would be talking to me, just normal tone and everything, but I'd be totally oblivious to it because I'm reading, and he would just, his tactic was just to get progressively louder until, like, I finally realized, like, until it, like, finally penetrated my bubble of reading and realized he was talking to me. My sister, on the other hand, had a less amusing tactic. She would try to talk to me, and if I didn't reply the first few times, she'd chuck a pillow at me to get my attention. And so she'd hit me with a pillow, and I'd be like, what? She's like, I'm talking to you. She's older than me. I'm the youngest of three. But yeah, so that was her tactic, was to throw things at me to get my attention. She's just as bad, though. I'll tell you that. We read completely different genres, but we both totally get lost in them. Our mother reads a completely different genre as well. My mom is romance, novels galore. My sister is like the murder mystery, like Patricia Cornwell is her favorite. And I am more of like the fantasy and sci-fi. I'll admit, at 28, I read young adult. For me, it's really about the writing. As long as the writing is good, I'll read anything. One of my other favorites is historical fiction. So pretty much anything by Ken Follett is really good. That man does his research. But that's pretty much it. I don't think I have anything else to ramble on about for this stream. So yeah, I think that's about it for world creation and bio creation and stuff. If anyone's got questions after the stream, you can definitely whisper me and I will reply. And the next non-read-through stream, we will probably go over the world building for Cormanthyr because it is very different than the Presage world. Magic is much more prevalent, and that changes the way the world works in comparison to how the world works in Presage. So I think that next one will be going over that I know Waffles was around the last time I talked about Cormanther and um, all the things that magic affects in Cormanther. Um, so with that, that's pretty much the end of this stream. Yes, listen, fantasy, fuck yeah. Yeah. I am not much of a nonfiction reader. I picked up a book last year that I thought was fiction, and it's not. It's a nonfiction, and it's really super freaking boring. Devil in the White City. It's about the 1932 World's Fair in Chicago. Yeah. The first, like, 3 chapters are literally about the businessmen that were trying to get the World's Fair to happen and, like, all of the stuff they had to do, and it was really super freaking boring. And there's, like, 1 page about the serial killer that preyed on people at the World's Fair. And honestly, that, like, page or 2 or whatever of that guy was the most interesting part of that entire section. And I did not finish the book because it was so boring. Sometimes if the material is interesting enough, I can push through it and, like, finish the book. But not... The Devil in the White City and Wuthering Heights. I did not finish Wuthering Heights either. I know it's a classic, which is why I bought it, but oh my god. There's a thing to be said about using diction and when not to use it, or when not to overuse it, because Wuthering Heights really overuses it, to the point of being unreadable. Yeah. So, that's my bit about fiction and nonfiction. Like I said, I think that's pretty much it for today. I might stream tomorrow because next Saturday I actually have thought of writing a story based on Dishonored called The Eyes of Dunwall. It's based on the Citizen's View, and I've not played Dishonored, but I know about it. So that could be really interesting fanfic for you. I say go for it, Nissen. I've read your rating. You're good. So I say go for it. Next Saturday, I usually stream on Saturdays. I usually start at 1 p.m. Central. Today I started a little late because I've been kind of blah the last couple of days. So I was trying to give myself a little more time to recharge. Next Saturday, however, I have a birthday party for my niece in the afternoon, so I will not be streaming next Saturday. But I might stream tomorrow. Either more of world building, or we might do some read through, maybe both. And then I will probably stream next Sunday as well, a week from tomorrow, to make up for missing next Saturday. You can follow me on Twitter at @SarahPerson, SARAH. That's right. I probably will, because while Cormanther world building is more in depth, there's less to it in some ways. So it won't fill up a whole stream. So I probably will do both. So that's my Twitter handle. So at @SarahPerson. Down below are links to my official author Facebook page, and my blog, which I need to update. I'm not always as faithful in updating that as I should be, either of those, but I try to. My YouTube channel is down there as well. These streams will be put on there, and then I'm also going to record a read through of Presage that doesn't have all of the chat interaction and distractions, that it'll just be the narration, so that people who don't follow me on Twitch don't have to wonder what the hell I'm talking about or who I'm interacting with or anything. Also down below are streamers that I recommend. Steven is one of them. DJ is also one of them. Shadow, I don't think Shadow's still here. I think Shadow went to lay down or something. He wasn't feeling good. Shadow's there, Skullstream, a bunch of others. They all do all sorts of different things. Steven, if you want to, you can link your channel in chat right now. Steven usually does Mondays and Wednesdays. He does indie survival games, non-horror. So Long Dark Mondays. And then Wednesdays are usually like Telltale games and other stuff. He's a lot of fun. Writing without spaces in between words. No, well, it's a Twitter handle. Of course there's not spaces. Yep, there's Stevens for you. And like I said, all the links are down below to everybody that I recommend. They're all really great streamers. They all stream all sorts of different games. And there's even one Twitch creative in there. She's really great. She does craft related stuff. But she's really awesome. I like her. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I will see you guys tomorrow. If not, I will see you guys probably in Steven's stream or DJ's stream, or Skull or Shadow. I'm everywhere. But have a good night, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.